Welcome back, everybody, to another episode of Ben the Human Plays Vagrus, the Riven Realms. We're right about to start the Leviathan story conclusion, maybe. We'll see. It takes long, cumbersome hours after you first spot its nightmarish visage on the horizon that the Comitatus reaches the Leviathan. It appears huge to begin with, but keeps on growing as you come closer until it almost completely fills your field of view. You're mere specks of dirt in its mighty shadow. Candake, who has spent most of the journey half dozing under her parasol, only becoming active during the evenings, which she usually spent reading scrolls and research notes, now becomes agitated beyond measure. She actually wants to ride forward post-haste, so you almost have to keep her restrained. Leviathan defies belief with its spire-like ribs and enormous skull the size of a building. Seeing it, you begin to give credit to Candake's theory of it being the remains of one of the mightiest dragons to ever roam Zerine. Slowly, the Comitatus meanders into the dusk-like shades cast by the skeleton. Then it finally stops. You have arrived. You walk up to Candake while your crew begins to unload the expedition's gear and set up camp under the watchful eyes of Levantius. The researcher stands in motionless awe before the mega-fossil. Her expression is one of utter amazement, her lips trembling wordlessly. You feel almost profane for disturbing her. "Just look at it," she stammers after some time. "Such grandeur, such divinity! Oh, that I'm finally able to cast my eyes upon it." You ask her what happens next. "We begin work, of course, as quickly as possible, and as soon as the camp and the experiment is set up, I will start to make measurements, take samples, verify certain hypotheses of mine. It shouldn't take too long before I conduct a first rough experiment, which then shall serve as a basis for all of this to follow. Oh, friend Vagrus, I can't wait." Ask her if she is not afraid of the notorious Skortar that swarm these plains. Candake gives you a happy grin. "Can't say that I am. See, they don't come here. The plains might be swarming with them, but apparently something with the Leviathan keeps them away. Most likely the lingering presence of the gold one, if my assumption is right." She closes her eyes and inhales deeply. "And there certainly seems to be something here. Can't you feel it?" Now that she mentions it, you notice a slight dizziness on yourself, something not necessarily caused by the desert sun. Maybe it is just fatigue. Leave her to her work. Candake nods. "Thank you for bringing us here, for your help so far, Vagrus." Oh, dang it. I thought it was Levantius. "Thank you for bringing us here for your help so far, Vagrus," she says. "Levantius will hand you your payment, and I know you have other plans and obligations, but I'd be delighted if you could stick around, or maybe just check on us once in a while. In any case, I outright insist that you join me as an observer for the first experiment. That will be wondrous to behold, I'm sure of that." The assistant hands you a few silver coins discreetly. We gained 18. Nice. We lost the cargo. They've left our Comitatus. Okay. Candake's research site, which she took to calling Camp Colossus, is a sight to behold. Tents huddle in the shadow of the enormous skeleton, parts of which are now accessible via complex scaffolding. A winding ramp and a series of rope ladders lead up to a wide platform directly on the Leviathan's head. I keep trying to call it Levantius. At eye level, one could say. Rows and rows of workbenches strewn with various raw materials and samples stand in a large, half-open tent, and close to the main crotch, you can see a piece of strange machinery consisting of pipes, cogwheels, pulleys, levers, and alembics. Part of them are engraved with uncanny runes. You find both Candake and Levantius busy at work. We ask Candake how her first experiment is going. Candake finishes jotting down a line of some obscure calculation at an absurdly long piece of parchment, and then turns to you, eyes gleaming with excitement. "Just great!" she exclaims. "In fact, I'm just about to begin. So nice of you to attend. I have to see this. Levantius, are you ready?" "Oh, you have to see this. My bad." "We are, Domina," comes the assistant's shouted. Oh, from the top of the scaffold. "We are, Domina!" Candake grabs you by the arm and pulls you along while you ask her what she intends to do now that she leads you up the ramp. "I was just getting to that," Candake replies. "Remember when I told you back in Lumen how I believe that the Golden One's essence still lingers around this place?" she asks. "Well, I intend to establish contact with it, maybe even manage some form of communication. See, a lot of my research went towards developing a method to identify and match the waves of pure otherworldly energy, commonly referred to as the flame, the primordial force inherent to all dragonkind, even the lesser ones of them, and the related species. If there is such a residue here, and I strongly assume there is, my arcane apparatus will find it, filter it from other forms of energy, and find the link to it. And in case it turns out it is somehow conscious,
But first things first, I'm getting ahead of myself. Look!
Meanwhile, you have arrived at the top of the scaffold, where Levantius is tinkering with a huge, weird-looking apparatus, finally making adjustments. The platform the three of you are standing on is inside the massive skull of the Leviathan. Black, empty space yawns at you like an entrance leading to some wondrous underworld. The main features of the apparatus are two enormous horns of some monster or animal, one pointed towards the platform, the other towards the skull's inner dome, both of which are hollowed out so they resemble the speaking tubes the imperial orators and military leaders sometimes use to address large crowds. The horns are engraved with runes, and flexible pipes wrought from animal intestine connect them to the transparent receptacles on stoves, their strange-hued liquid content bubbling just slightly below boiling point. Fumes of colorful smoke engulf the platform. To the layman's eyes, it looks like very impromptu, but you'll have to assume Candic knows what she's doing.
I think we can begin,
she whispers in awe. But before she does, Candic tends to some final preparations. Levantius hands her a robe adorned with scales and a ritual mask fashioned from the skull of some reptilian animal, maybe a Krowag? She dons both and grabs a staff carved from dragon bone, then positions herself in front of the contraption. Levantius wordlessly signals you to keep your distance. You wonder if he is confident in the experiment's success at his mistress. As his mistress, you'd be surprised. Candic begins to chant in a strange, scratchy at times, almost hissing voice, vocalizing alternately by pushing out and sucking in breaths. The horn in front of her face picks up and amplifies the sounds, causing a surreal echo to reverberate from the skull's interior. Levantius turns some valves on the receptacles, and as a result, the liquid inside them begins to boil, emitting fumes of polychromatic steam into the tubes, leading to the speaking tubes. You watch as the experiment, or is it rather a ritual, unfolds. This is wild. It's just like, we're reading a story. Candic's chanting rises and becomes more high-pitched as whiffs of steam coil from the wide end of the speaking tube. You realize the platform is trembling slightly. A quick side glance at Levantius reveals him furrowing his brows. Candic goes on undeterred, and then the other speaking tube begins to spew smoke. It has a metallic ethereal shine to it. You're not entirely sure, but it seems as if tiny dots of golden light dance in its strands. You feel dizzy and can't tell anymore if it's the platform shaking or your legs. Finally. You could swear the voice, a mighty, deep, yet mellow one, is inside your head, but looking at the astonished faces of Candic and Levantius, you can tell they hear it too. But no, not yet. Too narrow, incomplete. Children, you must. Without a warning, there's a shattering sound as the speaking tubes and the receptacles explode to pieces in a violent burst. The three of you fall to your knees, instinctively shielding your face with your arms. A scaffolding beneath you heaves and moans. No! Screams Candic, instantly on her feet, trying to hurl herself at the remains of her apparatus, but Levantius is just as quick and holds her back. Watch out, Domina! The fumes! The three of you back off from the platform. As you retreat, you think you hear a distant fading moan. A few hours later, after safely descending the scaffolding, the three of you sit in Candic's tent. She is sipping wine while Levantius tends to the superficial wounds the shrapnel of the exploding apparatus inflicted on her arms. The researcher is equally frustrated and enthusiastic.
That was a connection, she says defiantly. You felt it, no, heard it too.
We did, Domina, Levantius admits, but as to the nature of it, we cannot be sure if...
Hush now, assistant, Candic says quickly. This is promising, although it bugs me that the experiment got ruined, and so quickly. My calibrations couldn't have been that off. And what did it try to tell us?
She turns to you.
I must figure this out. Listen, dear friend, I might need your help again. Not right now, for I must do some research again, but come back in, let's say 2 weeks or so? By then I should know how to proceed. Would you do that? For now I won't bother you any longer. I'm sure you have other matters to attend to.
Leave Candic to her work. We've lost movement and we're getting 6 insight. Cool. Candic's research site while we are learning about the camp again. We will leave the camp for now. Cool! Well, we made some progress, and we got a hell of a lot of insight for it. That's very neat. And we've reached Chapter 7 already. Alright, I mentioned this one last time. I think we're going to make that a priority now. We got 2 weeks before Candic's mission comes around again. House Darius is mad at us. So let's go and head back to Torzeg's shelter. I'm going to upgrade my own abilities here. Let's get a little more con. Let's do... I'm a fan of Skulker. And then maybe some mighty. Mighty. And let's go with tough. Good news. All right. Upgrades for everybody. And now back out into the wasteland. And back to the camp. Well, that was fun. Cool. We'll have to come back for sure. I'm really excited to see how that goes. It's been a long time coming, just running resource gathering missions for Candake, so it's kind of exciting to see some real progress there. Blot out the voices. How did we fail? We lost a scout, and we lost morale, obedience, and movement. Well, at least we were at the edge of our movement there. Ren is healed. Kind of went the wrong way there to get back to the quarry, but it is what it is. And then in we go. I'm looking for some supplies. You have some supplies, thankfully. We have 5 days worth. Do you guys have anything you want me to take with you somewhere useful? Not really. The Drusian Quarry and Lumen are not really where we're going. We're going to go to Vigilus Tower, and then we're going to go to Torzag's Beyond. And then the plan is to go out and hunt down the Varukai tunnels. We lost a scout, though, so we'll try to we'll get a scout back here. The one guy. He's like, what about the guy you hired last time? It's like, I don't know, he wandered off into the woods. Don't ask questions you don't want to know the answer to. We will rest in the Manzio here. Send out our boys. They failed and lost vigor, of course. Alright, off we go. We have 4 days worth of supplies. The Ratharnak Comitatus. We don't want to tangle with another Comitatus out here. Getting low on our supplies, so I think we will make use of the half rations that was pointed out to us before. You lose nutrition, but I think it's better than going none rations. Yeah, it keeps all this stuff high, and it'll drop our stuff to sustained. And I'm actually really interested to see how much does this drop our supplies. So we're at half rations. I don't remember if Vigilus Tower has stuff you can buy. I'm almost wondering if it would be better just to go for Torzag's. Like, I think it would be better to just cut across the mountains down here rather than run all the way around. But these are like 2 instead of 3. I'm not sure. I'm gonna try it. I've never done it before, so we're gonna give it a shot. Half nutrition, which means we lose max morale and max vigor. So maybe we sit at this one for as long as we can. Or maybe we do drop it to 3. I'm not sure. We'll keep it there. And then try to gun it across the wasteland here. And probably 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. So yeah, we're like 3 camps away. We're still at 2 days, thankfully. And this is actually, I think it's counteracting some of the morale and obedience loss. So we're gonna keep it at half rations here and see if that doesn't help stretch our stuff, our meager supplies out as long as possible. We'll reach Torzag, so we can go for 100% supplies here today. And now we've reached the city. Right at the end of our supplies. Good, good, good. Nothing to hide, we pay our taxes. Alright, we're gonna offload these crystals. It's a little bit of a loss, but it's better than just hauling them around in our inventory forever. Okay, so now, the plan is to help out Ren. We are 5 to 7 days away, so we'll want to have 14 days worth of supplies going out there to be able to go out and come back. We got 11, 12, and that's all the supplies they have. We're gonna go ahead and rest. Exchange. We don't need any passengers. Do we want more fighters going out there? I feel like we're pretty stacked fighters-wise. Maybe one. Just one guy. You're gonna make the difference for us, I can tell. We don't want any missions, so let's just go rest up. And then let's spend a little bit on the morale, vigor, and nutrition, kind of get us back to normal. Pay our guys. And then go back to here, take the last of the supplies they have. We have 13 days. We should be able to get out there and back before we run out of supplies. Especially if we like start running out, we can maybe go for half rations or whatever it is. All right, up we go. I remember it's up here in this like greeny area somewhere. I do remember there was an opportunity to use your outriders. So we want to make sure we have at least 3. Because I feel like you run across like thieves or something. We got some water and we got some supplies. And some morale. Very good. The music has changed. This is very weird. Yep, we're just kind of heading that way. Through the green. I think we're in a swamp now. We go up this way, perhaps? Let's move, add our movement here. Might as well. Rest. Go up this way. How close are we? Very close. It's going to be like due east of us here. Go ahead and rest again. Now, where are you? Here? No. Maybe a little down or maybe up? It'd be tricky. Go here. Haha! Oh, dang it! You bastards, I was looking for a cave. Over here? Please? Ah, man. We're gonna be wandering around here all the time. Oh. There's food up there, and an 8% chance of something else. We will rest. Send our guys out for some more supplies, perhaps? They didn't get a lot. Alright. Where do we go? 28 nodes is a lot of nodes, and it kind of sucks. We're just kind of wandering around here. We're almost to Fort Larius, and we're almost out of provisions, I just realized, just wandering the wasteland. Oh, come on, guys. If it's like here, I'm gonna lose it. Alright, hold on. We need to... I'm gonna pause the episode here. I need to figure out exactly where Ren's stuff is at. I will be right back. And we're back. We walked right by this node probably like 3 or 4 times. It's frustrating. Alright, Renkailon finds you and confides that this is the era where, according to Prince Lakor, the Varukai have dug their way up to the surface. You stop the Comitatus and ask the Dark Elf what you are supposed to do next. He tells you that he has to scout the gateway into Everdark. We will search the area. We have a high chance of success. Let's boost that to very high. We have succeeded. A quarter of an hour passes before the scouting party returns. When it does, one of the scouts reports that they have stumbled upon a dark opening hidden by thorny briars, which seems to lead into some sort of underground cavern. Good, Renkailon says. From now on, this is my job. Let me descend there on my own. I will be back in 2 hours. I remember he will go and just not come back, but we'll offer to accompany him. I'm touched, the Dark Elf replies with a crooked smile. But no, this is a task that requires finesse and stealth. I'll be better off on my own, without anybody else to weigh me down, much better indeed. But I appreciate the concern, I really do. Let him do what he does best. He disappears into the hills, silent as a ghost, having nothing better to do for the time, being Oh, having nothing better to do for the time being, you order your crew to set up a provisional camp, ready to be disassembled at a moment's notice. Time crawls slowly, the idleness is monotonous. Eventually the sun creeps lower on the mist-shrouded horizon, and there is still no sign of Renkailon. 2 hours, the Dark Elf said. As far as you estimate, his return is long overdue. There's something wrong, and that means it is time for you to make a decision. We must mount the rescue operation. Leave no one behind seems to be a good motto to go by in the unforgiving wastelands, one that is appreciated by your crew. You are greeted by cheers and approving looks as you assembled a team to go look for the wayward Dark Elf Scout. People in general have the tendency to like knowing their leader cares for their well-being. You take care not to select too many komes for the mission at hand, for like Renkailon said before his departure, this is a task that requires finesse and stealth. The fewer companions, the less noise and the fewer opportunities to be detected. As soon as you are done assembling your party, you set off into the hills and find the cave entrance. I know he said the fewer there are, but we're taking the whole damn crew. I'm not going in there with just 2 people like last time. Are you crazy? Maybe 3? I think it was just 2, though. It does not take too long to find it. After an hour or so, you come upon a patch of briars between several hills, and just like described by your scouts earlier on, hidden behind some bushes in a tunnel, leading deep into the dark soil. Who knows what lurks in those depths? Wait for a while and see if anything happens. Try some sorcery to scry on your surroundings. We don't have enough magic sense and our spellweaver isn't assigned anyway, so let's wait around. You and your companions hide behind the thorny bushes at a stone's throw from the entrance. Flies buzz at your ears, but apart from everything, it is dead silent for some time. After a while, you begin to hear footsteps approaching from inside the cave. A dark elf emerges from the undergrowth. It is not Renkailon, and in fact it is a woman wearing jet black armor. Before she exits the tunnel, she lifts her arm and recounts a short incantation. As she does, glowing magical glyphs appear around her on the earthen wall of the entrance for the brief moment, and then she steps through. You figure that she just deactivated the wards around the cavern while she passed the entrance. The Tark Elf woman takes a few steps outside, and then not realizing she is being watched, ascends a hill. You and your komes are upon her in a minute. Because you surprise her, subduing her is laughably easy, and anyway, you do not need her, as you have already heard the enchantment. While your companions tie her up, you repeat the words, and lo, the glyphs disappear again. It seems that the tunnel to Everdark is now safe to enter. Ever so carefully, you enter the cave and delve deeper into its darkness. Soon the earthy tunnel gives way to a corridor hewn out of solid rock, while the ceiling is being supported by wooden beams. Your company turns a corner and almost runs into 2 dark elves, clad in uniform dark armor. These must be sentries of the Varukai. They have not spotted you, so you order your komes to take them down. It happens quickly and without a sound. As soon as the guards are dealt with, you take a look around. It very much appears like this underground site is still under construction. The testament to the aforementioned wooden scaffolding, signs of freshly dug sections, unfinished masonry, and heaps of dirt lying here and there. In fact, the sheer size of this subterranean chamber suggests that the soil was not dug out and moved by physical labor alone. Sorcery must have been at work here. We will delve deeper into the Varukai outpost. Okay, now I remember we ran across the slaves last time and they screwed everything up for us. After creeping through the corridors for a bit longer, wondering how deep these tunnels go, the corridor widens, and you come to a wide precipice. The cave underneath is large enough to house a small collection of hastily constructed dwellings, more tents than huts. A dozen or so scrawny surface dwellers toil around them, pushing carts and hacking away at the walls with pickaxes. The chains on their ankles leave no doubt about their status as slaves. A rickety ladder leads down into the grotto. Suddenly you hear alarmed sounds from all over the surrounding tunnels. Soon the outpost garrison will be upon you. For a brief moment you think about the possibility that Renkailon walked into a trap here and was captured, perhaps even killed, and that you should abandon this mission. But there's no time to dwell on mere possibilities right now, and you must act quickly. You descend the ladder leading to the slave pens, grab one of the involuntary laborers by the shoulder, and demand he tells you what he knows about this site. Surprised, he hems and haws. You ask the dithering wretch whether he or his fellow workers have recently seen a dark elf with a half-concealed face that does not wear the Varukai uniform. It takes a few moments for the slave to gather his wits. We did, I believe, he stammers, looking for reassurance to his peers in vain. Not too long ago, we went towards where the master keeps the yurgs. You ask him about these yurgs, to which he replies, I'm sure you know yurgs are. Big insects, right? The masters keep them battle pets and for work. In fact, they're more efficient digging than us, so a lot of us end up as torture dolls for the master's children, or as food for the yurgs. Their pen is right over there, through that tunnel. He points at an opening on the cave's other side, so that is where Renkailon supposedly went. As you're about to proceed, the slave grabs your arm. Please, beg. He begs. This is torture. Can you take us with you back to the surface? Several others crowd around you, pleading. All the while, the angry screams of the approaching Varukai can be heard, closing the distance ever so slightly. We will convince them to free them and swarm out in the tunnels. We've lost loyalty and gained loyalty with people all over the board. After breaking their chains, you advise the slaves to flee into the surrounding tunnels from where the sound of approaching Varukai can be heard. You assure them that your people are fighting the Dark Elves even now, and they can assist their escape. Desperate as they are, they believe and obey you without a single question and flee in all directions. You head into the tunnel. The corridor you enter is fairly straight, and following it, you spot a pale bluish light that leads you to a heading. Or gives you a heading. Disregarding any junctions, you head on to emerge into a spacious chamber, dividing into several subspaces, low bone fences. Within those confined nooks, you see numerous yurgs. All of them have crystals embedded between their feelers. That is where the ghostly light was spreading from. But of course these yurgs have a shepherd, too. A Varukai handler is also here, and upon seeing you enter, he immediately turns to attack you, sending some of the tamed creatures forth. Combat quickly ensues. I remember this. This guy was a beast. But hopefully, we're better now. Better at fighting, I should say. Yes. We'll go back here. Give me a good initiative. Yes, good initiative achieved. Let us hit the weaker one for 7! Hell yeah! Alright. Concentrate fire for 2, it's okay. Pierce the armor. Oh, we can't hit that one. So go ahead and attack this dude. Good hit, good hit. Blocked it. And then let's go ahead and summon our little buddy. Just because he can be helpful. Ouch, we've been mandibled. The beast will burn. And then Gorgoro, stab it in the head. Good job. We should be able to take it out next turn. Blade arms, he has done 5 damage to me. Very, very mean. But I think Harvick should be able to deal not like that. He should be able to deal with that guy, but maybe not. Ah, oh, boy. Come on, guys. Ouch. Fire away. Yes! Krifta, you're a hero. Whoops, that's not what I meant to do. Gorgoro, why don't you try to finish this fool? Got a little bit of health left. Blade arms are back out, and he's beating the crap out of Gorgoro. He's still alive for now. End him. Yes! Alright, and this guy's still here. So, Elani, go ahead. Gorgoro, weaken the armor. Good job. Burn. Go ahead and jump back. And then try to make him inaccurate. Please don't kill Gorgoro. You can kill the little demon man all you want. He is replaceable. All right, and he's slowed. So let's just go to town on this guy. 6 damage is awesome. Followed by 5 damage is even better. Good job, team. Gorgoro got the crap kicked out of him, but hopefully that, well, we'll probably have to fight a little more. I can't remember. Did we have to fight more? You and your companions managed to defeat the foe. Luckily, most of the Yurgs have remained in their pens and appear dormant. These creatures tend to be passive when not given direct orders. As you survey the field of your recent victory, you suddenly hear a whimper. Following the sound, you find a small nook high up on a wall, and therein you spy none other than Renkailon. The Dark Elf is curled up, hugging his knees while shaking and mumbling. He's clearly in shock. You tell him that it is time to leave. He looks up at you, eyes full of tears. Vagrus, is that you? He asks, trembling. You assure him that it is you, and then emphasize that you must go, now. The caverns between you and the surface are loud with the clamor of hostile Varukai. Renkailon slowly blinks a few times and then climbs down quickly, not even looking at the dormant Yurgs. As the two of you rejoin your comas, you hear the Dark Elves closing in. You must get your company out of this place. You take the closest tunnel and try to head towards the surface. Slaves running for their lives proved to be a surprisingly efficient diversion. The Varukai are more concerned with rounding up their escaping workforce than with your comitatus. It gives you ample time to set up defenses and even an advantageous position. Your crew battles the distracted Varukai soldiers. Oh, cool! So it's a real fight. Hell yeah, get in here, team! We're gonna kick the crap out of these guys. We will defend Gorgoro is out, unfortunately. Let's see here. Makeshift barricade? It's my go-to. Hell yeah, that makes it a 93. And then do we go ahead and try to eliminate the leaders? Or hold them off? Well, that helps with fleeing, so it's not really a thing. 1, 3, 4, 1, 2, 2. What kind of Yurg are you? Maybe we see how this first combat goes. That was horrible. Did we roll a fail? We critically failed. I'm so mad. This game is the most punishing thing ever. We had a 92% chance to succeed or something bonkers. Everybody's dead. Are we gonna all die here? Oh no, they're disengaging. So let's go ahead and pursue. We have a 98% chance to succeed. Don't F it up. A bunch of people died again. I'm so upset at this game. Success. Success after a crit fail. The crit fail is absolutely killing me. You're killing me, Smalls. Alright, we're back to 9 crews, so we have half. We lost 2 more horses, all of our scouts. We gained some supplies at the very least. What the heck? Oh, there. Whew. Scroll all the way to the bottom. Amidst broken limbs and severed insectoid appendages, you claim your victory on the battlefield. The Varukai lost almost all of their Yurgs and suffered enough casualties that they retreat for the time being and do not harass you while you rearrange your lines and move away from the Everdark entrance. You take a moment to check on Renkailon. The Dark Elf is visibly shaken, but when you ask how he feels, he just says, "I'm fine, I really am. We have to report something to Lakor now. I'll tell you what occurred inside later. Just let's get as far away from this place as possible." He then rearranges the hood on his face as he is wont to do. You push the Comitatus bat to make haste and get some distance between it and the Everdark gate before you give the order to halt. Dusk creeps in on the land and you have to stop for the day. You are confident the Varukai will not pursue you, not in their defeated state anyway. You set up camp for the night. Well, if I didn't get half of my fighters killed in a battle, it wouldn't be a Vagrus Riven Realms episode. Once the decision is made, you retreat to your tent to rest. This whole Varukai expedition was exhausting. You briefly wonder whether rescuing Renkailon was worth the trouble. Come on, that's not what I think. Upon sunrise, the Comitatus continues its journey. We gained a day. What does that mean? Gained insight. Oh man, 11 fighters bit the dust. We don't have enough people to guard excessively. So we will end the day. We need to get some more healing stuff. Alright. Should we go to the Crimson Gate? Torzeg's is pretty close anyway. We might as well just head back there. I'm thinking it'd be best to go just gun straight west to the road and then make our way down rather than trying to like navigate the swamp. We will rest. A little bit of a longer episode, but I really would like to get back to Torzeg's shelter to call it a day. Okay. The Comitatus prepares to rest for the night, and you are about to unwind from the day's toil when you hear soft steps. We must speak, he says. You can tell that he is serious, so you invite him inside. Moving fluidly as ever, the Dark Elf sits down before you, cross-legged. Back when we were raiding the Varukai tunnels, he begins. After you've got me out of there, I made a half-hearted promise to explain to you what occurred inside. Maybe now is the time if you will listen. The time might be indeed now. Tossing aside your dinner, you assure him that you are listening. He clears his throat, fidgeting with his hood. So then, you might have noticed I was somewhat shaken after you rescued me. That was because I somehow lost control. Everything went smoothly at first. Once I crept in, most of the guards and all the slaves thought I was just another low-caste Varukai passing on some errand. I had to revert to sneaking only once I was further in, and while crawling through an abandoned part of the tunnels, the ground gave way, and I found myself neck-deep in a Yurg hole. Nasty fucking place to fall into. Scary, too. Just believe me. Yep, believe me, you must. Never mind, those Yurgs seemed docile and generally attuned to my kind. Dark Elves, that is. They still scared the shit out of me. You hear me, Vagrus? You tell him you do. He seems to calm down a little. I only had one thought. Hide. So I climbed up into the crevice, and I can't remember how. The handlers came and went afterwards and did not notice me. You tell them at least that was lucky. Right. Renkailon continues after composing himself a bit. See, there's a reason I got so terrified. Terrified so much. Not something I like to talk about, see? Not one bit. Back when I was traveling with another Vagrus, I had a memorable encounter with those insect bitches, with Yergs. He gestures with the left half of his face and laughs bitterly. Yeah, that's when I messed up my sunny side. So I guess you can understand why I don't like them that much, and why I don't like to venture underground. But that's not really why I wanted to talk to you, or at least not the whole problem. You ask Renkailon what the real issue is. He licks his lips. It's that I'm afraid. Not of insect-like monsters or dark holes, but of being helpless, powerless, and, well, of being mortal. Despite my long lifespan of Dark Elf, I don't want to die. No, I want to live, and I don't want to be afraid of dying. You raise an eyebrow and ask him what he wants to do to conquer his fears. The Dark Elf smirks. Well, I harbor some resentment against my own race, yet there is a skill of ours that I might be interested in after all, the dark power of life drain. You ask Renkailon what this power entails? Ask how he plans to pursue this mythical power. Well, that's the story to be told, he replies, but the details don't matter at this point. Suffice to say that I delved into this matter 5 years before we met or so. 5 years it was, I reckon. Then, along the way, I somehow lost my enthusiasm, and now this last run-in with the Yergs happened. Got me interested again. Quite interested. Renkailon shakes his head vehemently, as if trying to get rid of unwanted thoughts. Now the only way someone like me can uncover this kind of knowledge is via meticulous research, he continues. The Moreldan princes keep this art to themselves, and they're sycophants. There are several occult texts and artifacts of dark power that I need to study in order to discover the locations of the sites where ancient sorcerers and dark elven exiles kept their accounts of life drain rituals. And that's where I need your help, Vagrus. That's where I need a lot of your help. Since we're on the road anyway, I figured it could work out just fine. That is, if you are willing. Tell him you need some time to decide whether you want to help him. He shrugs. I will try anyway. Might take a little much longer on my own. Much longer. But what are a few more months or years when the ultimate prize is immortality? The Dark Elf rises from his seat before he leaves your tent. He looks at you with a sincere gratitude. However this turns out, Vagrus, I thank you for getting me out of those Varukai tunnels. You've got no idea how grateful I am. He turns and walks away. The rest of the night passes without incident, and on the next day the Comitatus continues its journey. We gain some loyalty with Ren, and we gain some insight. Down we go. Wasn't expecting him to tell me so soon. Alright, maybe 2 days away from Torzeg Shelter? Not too bad. Our vigor's a little low. People are slowly healing from wounded. Back on the road. More healing has occurred, and we definitely need to stop by the apothecary to get some supplies. Alright, we've made it back to Torzeg Shelter. If you guys liked the episode, click the like button, it helps out a lot. If you want to see more Vagrus the Riven Realms, or my other videos I have going on the channel, subscribe to the channel. That also helps me out a lot. But until next time, everybody, I hope you have a good one, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye, everybody!